What's up, you good-looking people? Patrick here from wpbuilderhelper, and in today's video we're going to be talking about something that's not controversial, but something I feel like we need to talk about because it's been out in a lot of the communities, and it's themes. We're going to go over about 7 or 8 themes that I'm going to test live on camera with you, and we're going to talk about why some people are pushing some themes and some people are pushing others and the ethics behind that and things like that. I'm not going to point any fingers. I'm not trying to start any fights, but the purpose is to do a deep dive in it so that you can get a better understanding of why some things happen the way they happen. All right, so let's get started. Hey guys, what's up everybody? It's me once again. So the whole deep dive into this, and one of the reasons why I wanted to take and bring up this video is because there's a lot of people pushing themes, and it's not one set person, so don't jump to any conclusions and think that, you know, this is me trying to take and poke holes in anybody's reason for why they are taking and selling themes. However, with that said, there is a number of people who are selling themes, or at least they've obviously partnered with these themes to take and basically put information out about them. And there's nothing wrong with that. I've partnered with people on my channel who have specifically, they have not paid me. Nobody has paid me for anything. But they've said, hey, we'll give you a test sample. Look at this. Tell us what you think of it. I'm about to partner with a brand new page builder that I think has some promise. I think that they're pretty cool. You know, there's things out there. You're going to have partnerships, so I think that there are people out there who think that sometimes that kind of stuff is a little bit biased, and it can be, because if you're getting paid to do something, then you take and you say, okay, well, I mean, why are you really recommending something if you're getting paid? But there's some things out there going around that I'm getting frustrated with, because I'm hearing in people's minds that a theme is faster than another theme. And in most cases, that is true to a very, very small degree from my standpoint. Now, there are some themes that are dead slow. I still happen to like these themes, and we're going to do a test today. So I have a basic website here. This is one of my affiliate websites that I was going to throw together. It's just got very basic information. It's got some generic information, you would call it, I guess, and I'm using 2020. So the purpose of this was to establish a baseline, and I'm going to be doing this with you. As a matter of fact, I've got my pen, and I've got a notebook, and I'm going to take it and go with you, and I'm going to go over the baseline, and I'm going to establish it. I'm going to establish it to the point where we can literally look over the numbers together and see. So, if you want to rewind to the end or whatever, fast forward to the end, then go ahead and do that. For those of you who actually want to go through this with me, and let's have a basic discussion about what's going on and why it's happening, I think that we can come up with a conclusion from this. So here we have a very basic website, very simple, and I am running 2020 on it. Okay, so I've got my themes that I'm going to be using, and I did not include all of them. Okay, I probably could have included, like, I think in popular themes, there's probably somewhere around the realm of like 18, 19 themes that people really, really like and they really, really enjoy. You know, there's a lot of them. So these are the ones that I think, especially, I'm missing one of them. Let me go and add it. And the biggest one that I wanted to add, let me move this down and let me add this theme. So one of the biggest ones that I wanted was Astra, and I didn't even install it because there's a lot of talk around Astra. And I think that some of this talk, I want to make something very clear. I think some of this talk and some of the reason that it's happening is because of dogpiling. If you don't know what dogpiling is when something bad happens to someone, like say a theme or whatever, and then people just pile on top of it. Like, even me, in some cases, I have dogpiled on certain things. For instance, Elementor. I would call Elementor's latest release a dumpster fire, and that's just me being honest about it. I think that the number of sites that it broke when you're that big, it's huge. But Elementor just came out with a basically like an email to all of us, anybody who is a paid Elementor user, and they basically said, look, we screwed up. We've learned our lesson. Here's how we're going to fix it moving forward. That's awesome. I think that that's great. And when you do those type of things, when you're being transparent like that, I think that it gives you more integrity as a company rather than you trying to hide it or trying to do stuff. And I think that's where people get angry. That's where they get frustrated. It's when you try and hide it. Yoast had something like that back in the day too, where basically people's SEO got screwed up for a patch or something like that. If you go back and look at it, you'll find out. But Yoast came back and said, oh, it wasn't our fault and blah, 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 blah. People got pissed, and then they started moving to rank math. That's why stuff like that happens. So you can't take and go by that and think that it doesn't factor in, because it does. So anyway, the point of this is to take and go over these websites, record them all, and then take and see where we go from here. Like, what are the numbers really? What do the numbers really look like? People are saying that Cadence is, the next killer of Astra, and Astra isn't as fast. How much faster is it, really? How much faster is it? How much faster is Astra than Bloxy? How much faster is Bloxy than Generatepress? How much faster are any of these? And this is not a real test, so please do not take this. Take this with a very small grain of salt, because there's a number of reasons why this may not work. It may work. People are going to come and poke holes in it and say, hey, you didn't do this right. But the whole point is to establish a baseline, because my thought process without testing any of these is that they're all going to rank within a margin of each other. Maybe one or two of them are a little bit slower, but they're still going to be in that margin where I think that they're going to be okay. So the first one I've already tested is, and I need to test it from America because I'm in America. I could test them all with European servers. I tried GT, and GT was screwing up on this website, so sorry, I'm going to have to use Pingdom. I'm not really caring about the score. I know GT's a lot better in the general scheme of things, but I want to use Pingdom regardless. So this is 2020, so I'm going to write this down, and I'll drop all of this in a document, like a Google Docs or something. I'll attach to the bottom just so you could see it. So in 2020, the page size was 201, and that's page size, and that's 201 KB. And the load time was 741 milliseconds and 13 requests, which is, it's reasonable. I don't think that I'm not surprised. That's a WordPress theme, so I'm not surprised that that's really good. And then on Page Speed Insights, we have a 99 for mobile and a 100 for desktop. And it's really got a good paint. The paint is 0.6, and the mobile is 1.8 and 1.9 for the largest paint. So those are good. Those are really good speeds. If you had that on a regular website or whatever the case is, that would be acceptable speeds. Although there's not really much on here. There's like 2 images, 3 images, 4 images. There's like 4 images. But the whole point is that it's loading really fast. Now here's where the deviation comes in. When we start changing themes, you're going to start noticing differences, because these themes start adding more crap to them in order to make them more functional. And the more crap you add, the more bloated it gets. Same way with page builders. If you want them to add everything that's in the kitchen sink, you're going to notice very quickly that kitchen sink gets filled up. And so now we've switched to Astra, so let's look at the page. Let's see make sure that, yep. So that's the Astra theme. Let's load it again. And I'm sure, once again, somebody's going to come back and they're going to say, you're doing it wrong. You're doing it. This is not the right way to do it. But this is the way I'm doing it, because I feel like it's fairly representative of the theme. And it gives me at least some basic idea of what we're looking for in a theme. So we can kind of like get just a baseline. Where do these themes sit? Do they sit further apart, less apart? Like, look at this. Look at the Astra theme. So the Astra theme comes in, page-wise, comes in lower, which means it comes in lower than 2020, which is great, because it means 2020 has crap in it that Astra obviously some way found a way around it. It also comes in much faster than Astra. Keep in mind, none of these are running any other. I have things that are installed, but none of them are running that right now. So I'll even show you on the next go around. And then for PSI, we have a 98, so it's a little bit slower in the mobile. You can see the longest paint is a little bit slower, and it's also slower in the desktop by a little bit, by like 1 millisecond. So if we go in here and we look, I just want to point this out to everybody. I'm not using any plugins, so I'm keeping the plugins. I have these all turned off, with the exception of really simple SSL. I don't know if that really makes a difference, but if they're all using it, I feel like it's pretty standard. So Astra did pretty good. I would say Astra just beat the hell out of 2020, which I did not expect. I thought 2020 was made much faster in Astra, so that's kind of interesting. So let's move on to Bloxy. Let's check Bloxy, and I'm really interested with Bloxy because I really like Bloxy. I like the developers behind Bloxy. They're really friendly guys. I've had a couple of problems with some sites that use Bloxy, and they were able to fix them super fast. I mean, really fast. I was impressed. So we're going to use Bloxy, and we're going to try reloading these. And let's see what Bloxy comes in on. Let's see what we're looking at page speed wise. And like I said, I'll take and I'll put all of this in a Google Doc so that you can see it. It'll be at the bottom if you want that. And this is just for your information. This is just the information I'm collecting. I'm not collecting the performance grade, so I will not use any of that. I'm only collecting the page size, load times, and request, and then I'm also going to collect the page speed insights, which once again, I know I should be using GT Matrix for that, but I'm using Pingdom because whatever this website was doing, it was doing something crazy. So the page size does go up considerably. As a matter of fact, Bloxy has the biggest page size yet. The load time also goes up considerably, so it looks like Bloxy has more requests, because it looks like, well, I say Bloxy, but that's not true either, because I don't know what requests the actual website from Simple SSL. I don't know what that's contributing to it. It's also got a lower mobile time, so it looks like the PSI for this is lower, so an 86, and it's got a desktop of a 96. So the desktop's really good. It's actually got a lower, this largest paint is a 1.1. That's really low, I think. I can't remember. I'd have to look at the other ones, and I wasn't recording that. But this is a problem. They're going to have to fix their mobile. There's problems with this mobile. This is very slow for a simple website like this where you don't have anything. And that's just my opinion. I still like Bloxy. I'm going to still use it because, once again, it's within range. I don't think it's that slow, but they need to fix that. That's probably something that they need to look at, because mobile's really important to Google, and it's going to become more important in the future. So then we go to Generatepress. Here we go. We got Generatepress. Let's look at this. And Generatepress is one of those. Generatepress is run by this guy named Tom. And Tom is just really smart. You can tell he's just this really smart guy who spends a lot of time with this blog. So I would be shocked if it doesn't run pretty well. I don't think it's going to be like the top, but I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be close to the top, because Tom, he makes his stuff very tight. And I want to keep in mind, too, a lot of these plugins, they have different things that happen behind the scenes. So some of them have things that kind of tone everything down. Like, for instance, Bloxy. Bloxy in their Pro may give away more page speed insight to make your theme faster, because you can turn off something. Like, I think one of them that's in there, which is Ocean's WP, if we're not testing it, we are going to test it. They do the same thing. In their advanced module, where you download it and install their plugin, you can turn off certain things to make your website raise in that speed. So there's things that you can do to kind of fix that. So here we go, and I just forgot. Oh, we have Generatepress. So GP. So the page size is not... It's still not as small as Astra. Astra's page size was really small. However, the load time on this page is much faster than everybody else. As a matter of fact, it's got the fastest load time right now. Yes, funny. The WordPress one was the slowest. Now the mobile speed is, once again, and I shouldn't be tracking this score on mobile. I should be tracking the paints, but I'm just going to put that for right now because you can go and do your own stuff. But this paint is another place where you got a problem. So Astra, so far, I saw Astra had a decent paint. So did 2020. These two, Bloxy and GP, have not had strong paints. Their longest paint and their first content paint, that's a problem. I mean, obviously you can use a caching plugin, but if those themes can make it work without a caching plugin, then shouldn't you just make it work without a caching plugin? The desktop, once again, is another good spot where they do pretty good with this theme. So once again, I'm hoping you're seeing that all of these themes are within relation to each other. They're not that much faster than one another. So if you use one, I mean, it's your choice, whatever. Who cares what somebody's trying to push you? And I'll get to more of that towards the end. But let's keep doing this. Let's keep going over this theme. So who have we missed? Are we on Cadence? Yes, we're on Cadence. So Cadence is another big theme that's being pushed by a lot of different people. There's not one set person, I think, that is pushing it. I think a lot of people have heard that it's really good. And so because of that, they're like, oh yeah, it's fast, it's great. Wait, is this Cadence? No, I must not have activated it. It always helps to make sure you activate the theme in question. So yeah, it automatically, yeah, you want to use our starter templates, install our crap. So Cadence is a very simple theme. I mean, I like it. I like it out of the box. It's got a decent little setup here, and we're going to take and we're going to run it again. Once again, I know that there's more efficient ways of doing this. That is not the point. The point is to just get a baseline of all of this, like I keep saying over and over again, so that some of you can have a better understanding of how well your theme does or how well your theme doesn't do. So Cadence comes in, and shocker, has a very low page speed. However, it's not the lowest. Astra ranked lower in page speed. In its load time, it actually is 694 milliseconds, which, surprise, surprise, is not the fastest either. The fastest so far on this in terms of page speed was GP with 500 milliseconds. So GP ranked higher than that. So once again, even Astra wasn't that high. GP was, funny enough, the highest. It doesn't even have the lowest requests. Astra had the lowest requests. But that's not to down on it. I just know that a lot of people are saying, it's fast. They're all fast. They're all very, very fast. So you sitting there pointing out that it's fast doesn't prove that it's fast. So let's move on to our next one. Let's Neve. Man, I had the ability back in the day. They were giving this theme away for a lifetime deal that you could install Neve. And I feel like I shot myself in the foot, because this theme, I've played with it a little bit before, and yes, it has a lot of options and things like that, but this is by a really established theme company, and I should have gotten the lifetime deal. I should have bought it, and I just didn't, and it was stupid on my part. I probably should have gotten the lifetime deal. But I'm sure Neve is going to be pretty fast. This company has been around for quite some time, even though that doesn't play into it. I know Cadence has been around for some time and all of that. But Neve, you know, I've heard good things about Neve. So page size, look at that. Wow, holy cow. So Neve takes the page size, and Neve is the king now. Neve is on top with the lowest page size score. It's also on top for the lowest load time, which is much faster. It also has the fewest requests. I should have bought the lifetime license. Should have bought that. That was a big giant mistake. So let's keep looking. Mobile, look at this mobile score. Now, point this out. I want to point it out because this is what I'm talking about when you look at the whole entire factor, okay? Sometimes these scores matter a lot and sometimes they don't. That sounds weird, but it's true. So if we look down here, look at the bottom at the first paint. Look at right here. at the first paint and the first large. Now, Neve is passing, but Neve isn't the fastest. Not to Google. It may be fast to Pingdom, but it's not to Google. These scores are passable with what is on the page right now, which is very basic. You throw anything on top of that, ads or anything else, it's going to fail miserably. Okay? But those largest paint scores, and I should have gone back and wrote the largest paint scores, were much smaller on some of these other builders. So different graders grade in different ways. But with that said, oh, and I didn't get Cadence. I'll go back and get Cadence. I'll watch the video and get the Cadence score for Page Speed Insights. So they're 99 on mobile, and they are 100 on desktop. Now, their desktop looks absolutely amazing, but their mobile needs some help. I think that this is relatively high. I think that they could go back and tighten that up a bit and make their mobile a little bit better, even though, to be quite honest with you, they're scoring fine on everything else, according to Pingdom. So let's go to our next builder. I hope you're starting to see. Are you starting to get it? I know this is a long-winded video. I didn't mean for it to be, but I'm going to try and speed this up. The point is to basically show you that, hey guys, it is what it is. Sometimes your theme is going to be a little bit slower than somebody else's theme. Sometimes it's going to be fast. If you want to jump themes because of something that a company has done, I think that you could do that, but I think you need to do it in the right way. Don't jump themes. Don't drop a theme because they messed up one time. That's my point. That's all I'm trying to say. People make mistakes. As long as they can admit to their mistakes and they do what they need to do, I think it's fine. You give a theme a chance. You give a page builder a chance. You give a plugin a chance. Sometimes they're going to screw up your website. Not all the time, but sometimes they are. It just depends on you. You really have to decide. So, page score size, we have, which one is this? Is this Oceans? Yes, Oceans. So this is Oceans, and I am a big fan of Oceans too. I like Oceans WP. But unfortunately, according to this page score, it has got the biggest bloated page score of any of the builders. It is the worst page score that's out there. Funny enough, though, their load time's better than 2020 from WordPress. So that's hilarious. Their load time is actually better. And they also have not as many requests as Bloxy. So Bloxy's got a lot of requests. Bloxy's, you got to come down on those requests, man. And then let's see. And then here we come into this, which is where you get some true things. The reason why I say that is because next year, if you're not familiar, Google is coming out with an algorithm that's essentially going to start scoring pages based upon first content paint and longest content paint. Now, there's been some talk out there from some of my advertising companies that I run on my affiliate blogs that they are not going to be that important. However, you don't mess with Google, because when you mess with Google, you get kicked off of Google. So the thought process is fix it now while you got the chance before they implement it, or you wait until they implement it and then you drop in rankings, like hard in rankings. So this is bad. Their largest content paint, I'm pretty sure this is one of the longest content paints we had. I'll have to go look at it. Maybe I'll include that because now I'm starting to realize I could go back through this video and look at it. But their content paint is not good. Not for mobile, it's not. For mobile, it is terrible. This content paint is not good. Not good, Oceans. You got to go in and throw some stuff to help rank that up a little bit higher. And even on their desktop, man, their desktop's not good either. As a matter of fact, this is now the lowest desktop score of any of them. Ugh. Sorry. And it's the slowest. It doesn't even pass the validator, which is the Web Vitals, which is this kind of stuff where they're going to be ranking that later on. So, sorry, Oceans. If, I'm not trying to down on Oceans. I'm sure there's a lot. Once again, you throw a cache-in plugin on this, all these themes are going to act exactly the same. They're going to be as fast as you could possibly be. Throw WP Rocket or Swift or put a, just anything, Lightspeed cache on it, and they're all going to act. But the point is, out of the box, it's a little bit slower. They could probably work on that, and I probably would, because that's important to Google. It's not just important to people, it's important to Google. So now we're going to go here, and this is This is one that I've heard a lot of good things from it, but the Page Builder, what is this called again? Page Builder Framework. Page Builder Framework is another one that a lot of people seem to really, really like the Page Builder Framework. And I had never, back in the day, I had never even heard of it. And then somebody had mentioned it on a forum, and they were like, hey, you need to check out the Page Builder Framework. And I was like, okay, let's look at this, and let's see where it ranks. So just judging from here, the page size is acceptable. It's not the fastest. It's definitely not the fastest. Whoa! What is going on there? The load time is 1.71 seconds? What? That can't be right. That can't be right. Let me run this from another location. That can't be right. That's got to be a fluke. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. That's got to be a fluke. That can't be right. How could that be so high? All these other themes are literally loading within literally like half a second. And this one's loading in, oh my God. Well, that's a little bit better. Page size came down. Okay, that has to be a fluke. If that's a fluke, then once again, this shows you why these tests are sometimes garbage. Let's find out, though, because that's weird. That's weird that it went that. I'm trying to test them all from the same area, though. I'd like it to be the same area because I think it's fair. If I start changing the areas, then I'd have to go back and change. Okay, that was a fluke. I thought so. I was like, there's no way that it's that freaking high. It just the way the server hit and the way it hit, it couldn't be that high. Okay, so it's 215. Still, it didn't deviate. It deviated by like 3 KB. But the load time is 507 milliseconds. Now, I'm wondering if some people are going to come by and say the reason why that did that is because it's cache now. Because I know that some people will say it's cache, but there's no caching on this thing. So I'm not exactly sure. Google ranks it a 94. Once again, does not have an acceptable mobile score. The mobile scores are pretty high. It is what it is. But on the desktop, it has an acceptable desktop score, which once again seems to be the growing trend with these page builders, is that the desktop score is always okay, but the mobile score is where you get screwed on. And that's essentially where you get negative rankings for Google. So what does this teach us? So hopefully you've realized that you cannot judge something by the fastest. I'm going to go in and I'm going to mark which theme was the fastest for all of these numbers. And I'm going to put it in the spreadsheet. And I'm going to give it to you. It's going to be down below if you want it. You can use it. It's not scientific, so I will make sure to mention that this is not a scientific way to test. The point is to show you that it is what it is, guys. If you like a theme, stick with it. Are there themes that do a little bit worse? Yes, we saw with Oceans WP. It needs a little bit of help. It's a little bit slower than most of them, but I'm not noticing anything in here that makes any of these themes any faster, any slower than one another. I mean, they're within KB of each other with loading, and in most times they're loading within milliseconds of one another. So you're talking about a fraction of a hair loading. It's not much. So when somebody's pushing something, just realize they may have a reason for pushing it. And while some people can say, oh, well, they have free themes out there, so if, you push Bloxy, and now all of a sudden they come out with a paid, you're pushing it because it's got a paid. That's true. Some people are. Affiliates are going to push things that they think are good. It also may be somebody who is pushing something because they honestly feel without a doubt that it is the best solution for you right now. But I want to say this about that. Why did they switch? If it's somebody who switches a lot, then you need to worry. Because if somebody had a love triangle with some other theme and then they switched, why? Because that theme's giving you money? That's not ethical. I mean, we all have to make money, but you have to be ethical about it too. And so, once again, this isn't to point fingers. This isn't to say that. The point of it is to show you that these themes are within margin of each other. They're not bad themes. None of them are. If you used any of these themes for your website, I would say good work on you, because they're all good themes. They're better than a lot of the other themes that are in the WordPress repository. There's more themes I could have added to this list, and I'm sure they all would have been within fractions of one another. But at the end of the day, it really boils down to the fact that you need to decide which theme is right for you, and that's all that matters. That's it. You could use whatever you want. If you want to use Astra, Astra's just as good as Bloxy, which is just as good as GP, which is just as good as Cadence. They're all good. Pick the ones that you like, that you stand by, which for me right now is Bloxy, because I like the creators. I like the 2 guys that are involved in it. That's what I like. They're nice, they're responsive, and they're working on things. That's the theme that I'm pushing, and it's absolutely free. And if you go get it and you say that you got it from me, then awesome. But I'm not getting paid for it, and it doesn't matter. They don't even have an affiliate account yet because they don't have anything to sell. That's the greatest theme to buy. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and if you like it, like and comment below, and if you want to call me out and say that I did something wrong, mention that below too so that I can make changes in the future. Okay? Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys next time.